What is up? Hello, people. How's everybody doing tonight? Oh, there's Kenny. F you, Kenny. I hope everybody had a great weekend. It is another Monday night. I am glad you guys could join us tonight. As you can see, things look a little different. I went with more of a setup where I've got a table in front of me instead of a table behind me. So now I can show things off a little better and put some planes on the wall. So it's a little different, but I like it. I like it. And, everything is kind of changed up. I used to have the computer sitting right in front of me. So it's it's like weird, I'm used to having like a monitor here and a monitor here, and I could see the chat and all that stuff. And now the chat is like right there. So I can still see what everybody's saying. I can't see myself anymore. Yes, I can. Hold on just a second. Mr. Randy, how you doing? GB? Uh-oh, Shadow Ops. What roller did you get? A 1/8 scale roller chassis. Thanks, George. Excuse me. Mr. Great Scott RC, good to see you. RC Stinger, Randy David Snyder. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. We've got some fun things coming up, so I needed to make a few changes to the studio. I needed to be able to have like the table, and the camera zoomed in quite a bit, so I can actually zoom the camera out and go to a wider shot if I wanted to. But for the live shows, this is a lot better. Mr. Steph Mon, good to see you. If you haven't been here before, welcome to the show. So how's the sound tonight, fellas? That's another thing that I changed up, is I'm going with a different mic setup. Instead of like a mic right in front of me or an overhead mic, I'm using a hidden microphone. I've got a wireless mic that I'm using tonight. And when I tested it, it was all pretty good. So I just needed to make sure it was still going good. Yeah, relax, GB. We're not trying to do that tonight. Thank you, fellas. Thank you. Thank you. No, I can't drop the mic. I would show you, but, it'd be illegal. I'd have to show my tatas. Yeah, Mike SSI. It does. It does sound nice and clear. Yeah, when I was doing the testing, I added a little noise reduction and a noise gate and some compression and some EQ, and tried to get the levels all nice. But that was all in recordings, and you never know how it's going to come across live. So glad you guys can all hear it. It's kind of a weird show today. Normally I have at least something, to show off to you guys, but really all I got today is this little helicopter. So I received what at one point, and it's still not working. So I mean, it's mostly working. I got a one of the XK K130s, and this is a bigger micro helicopter, but it had a lot of issues when I got it. There was a lot of busted parts and pieces. Two of the three servos were stripped out. It didn't have batteries. It didn't have like the spur gear coming off of the motor. So the tail boom was fine, but the skid on the tail was busted. The tail rotor was bent up. The main rotors were chewed up. The bearings were full of dirt on the main shaft. So I've done a little work to get this thing back up to looking normal, and I have a new body, or I guess it's a new canopy. I don't think I think it's just called a new canopy. Um, that model, if you crash, the crap ton of power loves to blow the servos. Yeah, that's what I've been seeing is, a lot of folks have been blowing out the servos. I did have one replacement servo that was in the box when I got it. And, so the main servo, well, not the main servo, but I guess the center servo that's on the back that does more of the collective, that one was fine. But the right and left servos were both like stripped out pretty bad. So what I did is I got from Banggood, just ordered up like a handful. I think I ordered like 6 sets of the replacement gears. So I'm just going to take them apart and replace the gears in them, because the gear sets were like $1.50 or something. Or you could get like a Metal Gear servo for $12. I mean, if it's going to strip them all the time, I may switch over to the Metal Gear servos. But it's a pretty cool little helicopter. I've had a lot of time to spend with it, taking it apart and getting it back together where it looks like a helicopter again. And at least from what I've seen, it looks like it flies really well. And I don't do a lot of 3D flying anyway, even though it's 3D capable. I prefer, to fly my helicopters more scale, because I can't. I'm not very good at flying them 3D. I go upside down, and then all hell breaks loose, man. It's breaking. Hello, Amy Marshall. Hey, I know her. So it is. What's that, David Snyder? You were saying it's the same with the Roban helicopters. Do they strip a lot of servos in those Robans? Because I think that the Robans, I would assume, come with like big fat, like the what are they? What are those big knives? Like Savox, the big metal casing, super heat shrink, super high torque Metal Gear servos. Keith, you know, eh, Amy gets shy about getting in front of the camera, but I keep telling her, like, we'd get a lot more folks watching the show if you were the one doing it instead of me. Hey, Mr. Pilot Ryan, what is going on? So yeah, with the helicopter, I had to order some of the parts I was able to get from Motion, because Motion does sell the XK helicopters, but a lot of their parts are out of stock right now. So I wasn't able to get everything I needed through Motion. So a lot of the parts, or the servos and the canopy, or not the servos, but like the servo gear kits and the canopy, I had to order through Banggood, and they're supposed to be here like November. sometime. So it's still going to be a couple of weeks before we're able to get the thing in the plane. And I have no idea if it's going to be, you know, a good flying helicopter or not. The reviews I've seen on it would suggest that they're pretty good, but who knows, man? And yes, they are always sold out of the XK helicopters and the parts. And it's upsetting, man, because I think that they, I mean, are they sold out because they just, only get a couple at a time? Or do they get a ton of them and everybody buys them up and they're super popular? Whatever the case is, I wish that I was able to get all the parts through Motion because those got here like in a couple of days. I was able to get like the new pinion gear for the main motor, the new bearings, and and I got the batteries. I got a couple of batteries from Motion as well. For the other parts, I had to go through Banggood. I ordered a new main shaft, a new horizontal shaft, um, a new canopy, and the servo gears. So it looks like the main shaft and the horizontal shaft are probably fine. It doesn't look like there's much warp to them, but just to err on the side of caution, I'm going to go ahead and replace the main shaft and the horizontal shaft, just to make sure that everything is nice and straight and true for the first flight. And the first flight might be the last flight if I land it the way I normally land helicopters. So we'll see. Mr. Fred Barron, it is good to see you tonight. Amy, that's funny. Yes, Shadow. Anytime I'm buying anything from Banggood, I always use PayPal. You know, you can't be too safe when you're ordering anything from a company like that, and PayPal just adds that extra level of confidence that even if you end up getting screwed over by them, you can still get your money back. Just fire up a dispute with PayPal. How am I reading the comments? So I've got the camera directly in front of me. The computer is now turned around the other way. So everything is much different now. I've got a table in front of me. I've got the camera zoomed in where you can't see the table, which is good because there's a cat laying on it. He's like conked out sleeping over here. Um, but I've got it where if I had a big airplane, we could zoom the camera out a little bit and have, a big airplane set up on the table and we can build it and we can do all of the fun stuff. Did I set what up like James did? The studio? No, it's way different. Oh. No, the computer's different too, right? So I've got a desktop um, that is over on the other side of the room, and it's got a couple of monitors on it. And that desktop used to be right in front of me, and I had two monitors right in front of me. And I mean, I don't know how many people paid attention enough, but I used to have like this blue tint on my face. And now I think I look normal. I don't know. what what does normal look like when you look like an alien like me anyway? My hair is still silver. Um, but everything's a little different. Uh, so Michael Rajka, I think it's still a version of JST, like a JST XH or PH or something like that. You'd have to be more specific because there's so many different versions of JST connectors, not just the red ones. Like even the like the balance plug, I think is still called a JST, but it's like a JST XH 1.5 or something like that. Like the pitch, and by pitch, what I mean is the distance between the pins. You know, like you can have two different types of JST connectors, and one is this pitch, and one is a 1.5, one is a pitch of 0.7. It really depends. We'd have to get more details on the plug that you're talking about to be able to give you the right answer. Yeah, right, Spencer. Jermaine Spencer. What is normal? Roach Coach Hellies. What is happening tonight? No wobbly pops tonight. I normally don't do a lot of I don't typically drink when Amy's not here, which is weird. You'd think that that'd be the time when I go and get like stupid drunk, but I prefer to do that when I'm not here by myself. Like when I'm here by myself, it just feels weird to drink and be drinking with nobody. You know what I mean? Like that feels like a sad man thing to do. Ron for the Hills mining. It really depends on what kind of servos are in that P39. Is that what you're talking about? Is the P39 from E-Flight? If the thanks, Fred Barron. I appreciate it. Yeah, I thought it would look cool. Since I've got two F-18s, to have the big nasty F-22 and the two F-18s, on its flank. What I need to find is somebody that's awesome enough to be able to fly them in formation that close. But, I don't even think that the Blue Angels fly that close for real. These things are like inches apart. I am, Randy. So, David Snyder, not yet. And I don't know. I don't know if I told you guys, because I think it happened since my last show. I want to say this past Tuesday, or yeah, it was this past Tuesday. I had taken out the F-18 and was going to be meeting James and Alex from Motion up at the field, and we were going to be filming the maiden of the camo F-18. On that day, so the last time I went to the field before that, and this one could be because of where I had the receiver placed. My PC-21, the Pilatus that I had the AR-630 receiver in, I ended up crashing that plane. I put it in nose first, and I just lost control of the plane on final. It was coming around the base leg. I had the plane straightened up on final, and it just veered to the left and nose planted right into the ground. And that was 2 Thursdays ago. So not this past Thursday, but the Thursday before that. I crashed my PC-21. The next time I went to the field, which was this past Tuesday, I brought out my E-Flight Havoc and my Freewing F-18, the VFC-12 camo scheme. I took up the Havoc. I was having a good flight, and on final, in the exact same spot, I mean, I was up, I did my whole 3 minutes, you know, was coming around on final to land the plane, and in the exact same spot that the PC-21, veered left and nosed in, the Havoc did the exact same thing. And I was like, I'm done for a while I figure out what the heck is going on. Like I've just had a weird month, man. I crashed the MiG-29, the Arrows MiG-29, where it did some funky stuff, but I'm pretty sure, like I've said, I think I stalled that one out. I think that one was just bad piloting. But I know that the PC-21 and the Havoc had nothing to do with bad piloting because I was flying straight in. And I know that I had enough speed to not stall. And they both did the exact same thing. And when I brought them over to the pits to check everything, all the servos worked, everything worked fine. So I'm not sure what happened. But anyway, to get to the end, the long story short part, I'm waiting to fly the F-18 until I build a little more confidence up. Last Thursday, I took out the F-22. Now, the F-22, this one is kind of the anomaly. This is most certainly the most expensive plane that I've got that has an Admiral receiver in it. This one has the RX-600 SP, so the Admiral 7-channel stabilization receiver. I probably put 10 flights on this thing last Thursday, never had a problem. So, I'm not sure if I was having an issue with like the aerial placement, like the antenna placement for the receivers. With the AR-630, the way that it was mounted in the PC-21, it was kind of between the motor and the battery. So there is a chance that I had some interference between the battery and the motor because it doesn't have like aerials. It's an internal antenna. So I did go ahead and order a new fuselage and the parts that I needed to fix up the PC-21. So that one will be coming back soon. The Havoc, I'm just gonna let that one, chalk that one up as a loss because the honest truth is I really didn't fly it that much anyway. I fly the Avanti a lot more than the Havoc, and it sucks losing a plane. It always sucks losing a plane, but that was one of those ones that I was like, not that big a deal. I didn't love it. So Shadow, I think it's always the electronics, especially on a Havoc. Everybody knows that. Because the two incidents were so similar, you know, I have to believe that there's some kind of weird thing going on in that particular area of my field. Um, here's what I know. It wasn't me. Like I didn't dork it up that bad. I don't crash planes that often. Although if you look at my track record over the last few months, it would look like I crash planes every week. But I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. So I gotta build that confidence back up. I made. I mean, there's some planes that I just don't want to lose. I was gonna say like I may take my commander out, my E-Flight Commander, which has the AR-637T in it. But I don't want to lose my commander because I pressed my luck and flew it through a dead spot that I knew was a dead spot only to have it crash. I may take out, like I'm looking at all the planes that I've got, like what do I not give a crap about? So I may take out like the Viper. I don't really fly the Viper very much here anymore. Or my little 64 millimeter, like the F-16, F-15, and try those out flying through that spot. At least if those crash, they're cheap to replace. I mean, those are ones that I would want to replace because they're fun little planes. Or, I would probably buy something different, another 64 millimeter plane, if I were to crash those. I mean, anytime you look at your collection of planes and you know that you're doing something risky, I mean, how do you make that decision of which one you're okay with losing? I don't really want to lose any of them. Mike, that may have been it. It may have been the Ruskies in the panel van. What is up, Mickey BRC? Yeah, George Watts, normally I'm the same. Are you saying, Amy, are you saying that I need face powder? Is my face shiny? Am I shiny? Oh, that's funny. They do have an expiration date. What? Is my forehead shiny? That's probably what it is, Shadow. I'm just sad. Kevin Trappin. That's funny. Y'all are terrible. Don't listen to her. Saying I need to put makeup on. That's a terrible idea. So, yeah, I mean, when I look at my, the airplanes that I have, man, that Spectrum head is so dirty, though. And Amy washed it, and I have no idea what she did with it after she washed it. I haven't seen that hat in a while. Randy, put it on low rates. Thanks, Jermaine. That makes me feel better. I think it's because my hairline just keeps, my forehead just keeps getting taller and taller, and I can't understand it. If the hat is on top of the dryer, I'm not going to mess with going to get it right now. Fellas? Yeah, and I mean, I'm on camera. I don't want to look. I don't want to wear like an ugly hat. That's kind of why I stopped wearing my Spectrum hat, because that thing, man, I wear that thing all the time. Anytime I go to the field, I'm usually wearing it, and it got yucky. That's what it is. That's what it is, Fred Barron. I'm glowing tonight. I'm finally gonna have my food baby. Oh no. My hats get grungy after like 2 months, much less 20 years. You give them 20 days and they're doing all right. Thanks, Ken. See, there's people that put me on 65-inch televisions. That's a brave man right there. That's a brave man to look at all this on a 65-inch TV. That could be it, George Watts. That could be it. You know, Kenny, this one's been gestating for like 7 or 8 years. Maybe longer, dang. Amy, when did I get fat? Because I know when we first met, that's probably been, wow, like 14 years ago? I wasn't a fatoni. I wasn't a fat one 14 years ago. The Hobby King hat, I've got the Hobby King hat, but the Hobby King hat is too small. You know, my head is too big for the Hobby King hat. Oh, GB, I've got a 12-pack under here. You don't want this abs competition. Oh God, Kenny, you got this going on a 70-inch TV? Man, for you guys that watch me on a big screen, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. Yes. I think I've gained more than 22. Oh goodness. You poor guys. See you, Victor. Have a fun night tonight with the wife. Oh, thanks. I try to be handsome. So, what else have I been toying around with? So, something else that I got a hold of in my, not to spark the infinite debate of what's better and what's not, because I like them all. But, oh, excuse me. I got my hand. Shadow, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. Your heart would explode if you did what? So I'll tell you, the reason that we don't do date nights is because I don't want to go on a date night and get the COVID, so we let the date night come to us. Like we get stuff on Grubhub or whatever. What's that thing we use? DoorDash? And we let on DoorDash, we just let them bring us food, and I don't think we've gone out in months. It's probably been like February or March or so. I mean, it's been so long ago. It's sad, man. The whole state of the world is just a piece of crap right now. $52 guys. Hey, you know what, Kenny? Don't encourage her. She only needs to go on date nights with me, man. Not all 52 of yous. 200 driver. I hope that's not true, because we do use DoorDash probably a lot more than we need to. And now that it's just the two of us, I mean, it's just so much easier, man. It's really difficult to cook for two people, which sounds stupid, but when you're used to cooking for like four, I don't know how to pair I mean, I say I don't know. That's not true. I mean, of course, I know how to cook less food, but it's hard to buy food in small quantities like that. Um, like when I go to the store, if I want to buy meat, I gotta buy it like a you know a pound of this or a pound of that, or you have to buy it in sizes where you end up throwing a lot away, and I don't like to waste stuff. Um, and we don't really do leftovers. Like we'll save food and then we won't eat it. It'll just sit in the refrigerator forever, and we'll end up throwing it away, like the next week, which is probably also disgusting. And I shouldn't tell you guys that. Like, don't look in my refrigerator. Well, Dennis, I have a freezer. I have a freezer full of it's. I have a freezer full of ice cream sandwiches and frozen pizzas. Oh God, Jermaine, I don't even want to think about that, man. If I were to look back and see how much money we've blown on DoorDash, I would be sad. I'd be so sad. We probably would. We probably would be able to pay the mortgage off of DoorDash at least a month or two. Yeah, I've got ice cream sandwiches. I've got these I don't know what they're called, like fantastic bowls or whatever. They're like just single meal things in like a bowl, just full of random things. Today the one I had like it had potatoes and gravy and meatballs. It said it was like pub style meatballs and potatoes and cheese. I was like, what? Well, they don't serve this at pubs. is is that what that's called? Is a steamer? Because the steamer is usually what I make after I eat those bowls. That's that's typically what comes after I eat there, Jerry. See, and we did that the other night, George. Yeah, that's been a couple of weeks ago. So we did a thing where we have this place called Asian Fusion, and they're a weird place. They do like Japanese hibachi, they do Chinese food, they do sushi, that like all the different They've got some Thai dishes. It's like a place where you can go and get any kind of Asian food you want. So it's Asian Fusion, and it's really good. But normally we get it from DoorDash, right? And DoorDash has like a delivery fee, and then these other fees and whatever. I mean, we went to Asian Fusion because we were out on the town anyway. And in fact, out on the town, what I really mean is we went to Hobby Town because I needed to pick up paints because it was right at the end of getting the F-18 done. It was right before I finished that, like one of the last days. I had to go to Hobby Town to pick up I can't remember what I was picking up, but I had to go to Hobby Town. And we stopped by Asian Fusion, knowing that it was takeout only. We just went in, we gave our order to the lady, and it was like $20 cheaper going there and picking the food up and bringing it home than it was to get it through DoorDash. And like that was when it kind of hit me like, oh my God, we spend so much money on stupid DoorDash and and Grubhub and Uber Eats and whoever the hell else will bring our food to us. And now we've gotten so bad, like we don't even go and do grocery shopping anymore, right? Because Kroger delivers. Kroger will bring the food to you, where I don't have to go to the grocery store anymore. So like the only time I have to go to the grocery store is when I'm buying things where they have to check your ID to get it. So like if I want to get beer or cigarettes or whatever, medicine, I got to go to the grocery store. So, Chris, the Havoc, the Havoc really isn't that bad. If I kept all the parts, right? So I've still got everything. Um, it definitely it needs a new fuselage. I went ahead and stripped the fuselage and just threw the fuselage away. It was bad enough where I didn't feel like I could repair it. I mean, it wasn't like destroyed, but it was broke. Like the whole front end was broke off and just accordioned up really bad up to the the leading edge of the wings. So the wings were safe. I was able to take the wings off and get the tail, the horizontal stabs off. Because the vertical stab is built into the fuselage on the Havoc, the vertical stab didn't take any damage. I mean, it was all the nose and the canopy. So if I get another fuselage and another canopy, the Havoc's going to be fine. I just don't know that I want to mess with it because it's not, it's not one of those that's like my favorite plane. It's and like I was saying, it's always sad to lose one, but it's not like I'm dying to get another one. The PC-21, I really like the PC-21. The PC-21 flies amazing. So when that one broke, I was like, I gotta fix this. And it's a great looking plane. That's the PC-21 is a great plane. So that was one that I had to fix right away. And with the sales that they had going on at Horizon, it was a no-brainer. It cost me like $60 to get all the parts I needed to get the PC-21 back and flying again. The Havoc, for whatever reason, they did not have the fuselage on sale. So that was one of the few parts that they didn't have on sale, like during their crazy fall sale where they had all these parts for like 50% off. The Havoc's fuselage was not 50% off. They wanted $109 for it, and I was like, I think I'll wait. So I'm not going to throw the parts away. And someday, if I decide to fix it, and get another one, maybe I will. I don't know. I'm up in the air on it. That was one of those planes, like I said, that it didn't really get a lot of flying time anyway. So it didn't really hurt my feelings that bad. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. The fuse was like an accordion. I messed it up pretty bad, man. $120 for a bind and fly Havoc? See, that's what I was thinking, Skyblazer. Like, if I got an ARF plus 80, the the only problem with that is those FMS 80 millimeters are a little bit bigger. Not a lot, but they're a little bit bigger than the Motion 80 millimeters. So I would have to modify the area that the EDF, the fan housing, goes into the fuselage. But yeah, that's not a bad idea. You know, like an L-39 with that Havoc motor would actually run pretty well, I think. And I like L-39s. So I'll have to look into that. I'll have to see how much like an ARF plus L-39 is. Because an ARF plus L-39, I think I would like a lot better than a Havoc. I'm just throwing it out there. What's up, Spencer? So Amy wasn't home, man. Amy wasn't home. I had to do this myself. And and I think most folks know the background story behind this F-22, but I'll tell you what. For those of y'all that are on the fence about my getting into a 90mm EDF jet, stop waiting. Get you one of these. Get you one of these F-22s and do it. And get you a 90mm. They're awesome. The F-22 flies awesome. What a great plane. Can I do this to the rest of the house? What you don't see is what's on the other side of the camera. This poor room, I think what a bunch of people don't really realize is how much I had to move things around to get stuff where it looks like it does today. So this is way different than it used to be, you know, and you guys saw it. I had like the two shelves. This isn't even the same table that I had sitting behind me before. It's a lot different. I mean, the planes have moved. This plane didn't even have a spot on the wall. This plane didn't have a spot on the wall. This wall was blank. It's way different than it used to be. So a lot of the stuff that used to be over here is now on the other side of the camera, and I have no idea where to put it, so it's just kind of sitting in the middle. And I moved my paint booth because all the planes that were sitting on the floor, I hung on the wall where the paint booth used to be. The paint booth is now sitting in front of the window, and I have nowhere to put the other table because I hung planes all over that wall. So I got to figure out like what to do with a lot of things, but we'll get it all figured out. I'll figure out something. I just don't know what to do with everything yet. But for now, it's like crazy in here. Fred Barron, that is the ARF Plus price. So the nice part is now the way that I have the chair, so I had a big chair that was sitting behind where this table used to be. The chair was sitting in front of the window, and this table was sitting in front of that chair, so I could sit in the big comfy chair and work on planes, which really didn't work out all that well because I'd end up like going to sleep. So I put that chair like over, it's like here, and the dogs are sitting in that chair sleeping, which is awesome. Because if they can see me and they can sit here and sleep, that's what they're going to do because they're lazy. George Watts, you are awesome. Thank you, sir. I very much appreciate that. $297 on Banggood? No. I will get it from Ocean RC. Thanks. So yeah, that's the only real kind of hesitation that I have about doing one of the free wing planes as an ARF Plus with the EDF and speed control from the Havoc. I mean, the motor, the speed control, it's one of the newer Havocs. So it had the the upgraded, I mean, it wasn't an upgraded motor, but it was after they figured out that they were kind of messing up the balance. So that motor is better balanced. It's the 2000 kV in runner, 12 blade. So it runs great. The Havoc was a great plane while it lasted. So that may be what I do. That may be what I do once I'm back in a position to buy airplanes, because I don't really get any kind of special deals from Motion. So I pay full price for those planes. Um, that's probably what I'll do is I'll get an L39. Yeah, L39 was one of those ones that I liked it, and the L39, like I prefer like the Swiss. Um, what is it, like the Swiss demo team version of the L39? I like that one better than the camo. So if I was going to do an L39, I would get like the Swiss one and an ARF plus, but I will have to make some modifications. I'll have to, kind of hog out the inside of the fuselage to get that 80 millimeter FMS fan unit to fit in there, which I'm not real thrilled about doing, but it, it's probably worth it. Save $100 and get it that way. I will be not getting a German bird, Randy. That's right, George Watts. 297 is the number of days it'll be on the boat. Thanks, Spencer. I appreciate it. Another $10 towards the L39. You guys are awesome. So no, it's not too late, Shadow. I've always said I will never buy a German airplane, and to this day, that is still true. I only have one German airplane, and it was sent to me for review. And Lord knows I put more work into that German airplane than the airplane is worth. So technically, I did pay for it in labor, but I didn't have to put any money down. Joseph Youngblood busting out the big dollars, busting out the big wallet with $1 super chat. Thank you, Joseph Youngblood. I appreciate it. 46 bones, Shadow Ops, 46. That's funny. I love you guys. How do you properly secure the ADF unit in Freewing F86 64 millimeter? Tyson D. Strong. I have never opened up the EDF area of any of the 86 millimeter or the 64 millimeter Freewing planes. I've never. It's not true. I was going to say I've never seen one. I've seen plenty of them. I've never flown one. I've never owned one. Have no idea. So hopefully somebody in the chat that's got one of the 64 millimeter Freewing birds will be able to tell you. I know on like the FMS 64 millimeters, like the F-15, F-16 from E-Flight, there's tape along the sides of the fuselage, and if you pull that tape off, the EDF housing is actually like a magnet that pops on, like a rare earth magnet. So you pull the whole thing off, and there's your EDF. And when you're done, you pop it back on, put some tape on the sides, and it's good to go. Oh, Hangar 51. Kenny, you guys bought those, not me. You guys paid for those. But technically, my account bought them. So Kenny got me. Kenny got me. I have bought 2 German planes. Dang it. I do. I do have to fight the little fuckers. So the plan was when the little fuckers were bought. So if you guys remember, we had like this huge outpouring, of stuff going on. There was no Rona yet. That didn't exist. We were all still making plans to go to Joe Knoll. Joe Knoll was still on. And somebody had brought up like, hey, these things are on sale. And I looked and they were like $60. And I was like, look, if you guys, give me enough super chats, I'll buy one of these, just to crash it. And then enough super chats came in and I was like, I'm getting 2 and we're going to have, we're going to have like a Reckham, like we're having a big, whatever the heck you call that. What do you call that? We're going to run into each other. RC Stinger, I don't know how much New Zealand version of $1 is worth here in the United States, but I always appreciate it. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Yes, we're going to have a demolition derby. There you go, Joseph Youngblood. A demolition derby. I knew derby was in the word somewhere. We're going to take those 2 little fuckers that I still have brand new in the box sitting right over there, and we're going to have a demolition derby with them. And the plan is to bring those down to the Toys for Tots fly-in that the Boozers are hosting down in Florida next month. And me and Wesley are going to take those things and crash them into each other. We're going to have a dog fight. So that's still on. I haven't forgotten. I appreciate everybody's support whenever we bought those things. And the plan to wreck them is still in place. And it will make the purchase of German planes worth it. When you're buying German planes, to smash them straight into the ground. I know, George Watts. This whole year, oh man, this whole year has just been, it's been crappy. Like just from a worldview perspective, from a personal perspective, like it's been the most horrible year for me, seriously. For reasons that I just won't even get into, you guys know. And it's an election year, which always makes things weird. We got this stupid corona thing happening. The economy is all over the place. The job market is terrible. What? The only thing good about this year is being able to fly these airplanes. So that's what I'm doing. Fred Barron, when you're crashing them on purpose, it's different. So I hope that you're asking somebody else. The FMS Avanti V3, I actually don't know how sturdy that gear is, but it looks like it has similar trailing links to those that were on the Havoc, and the Havoc actually had really good landing gear. I just never had a chance to put the plane on the landing gear the last time I flew it. And what I will tell you is that the nose of the Havoc doesn't take the weight of the airplane the way that the landing gear does. So when you put the nose straight in, it breaks off. But when you put it on the landing gear, you can kind of pancake it a little bit, and the Havoc will make it because it's got a pretty tough gear. It probably doesn't do worth a crap out of gas because it's got those really hard, small tires, but the Havoc was a good airplane as far as the landing gear went. And the V3 Avanti 70mm, the gear looks similar. They may not be the same. Ah, Joseph Ramsey. How you doing, sir? So I see someone saying that Ray's in here. Are you in here, Ray? Ray is here. How you doing, Ray? Wait, is Ray leaving? Ah, nice. The MiG-29 fiery booty install. The length of the nose gear on... So the P-39 nose gear is pretty long. Like the P-39 is one of those planes, you know, what is it, like the Hellcat? The A4 has an unusually long nose gear. P-39 has a really long nose gear. Yeah, I mean, those are the ones that stand out to me as having like these unusually long, they're like fishing poles, you know, like huge, long landing gears. Not sure why. The Havoc nose gear, absolutely not, is nothing like the P-39 nose gear. The P-39 has to have a big long nose gear to keep the prop from smashing into the ground. The Havoc's nose gear is probably half the length of the P-39 nose gear. See you, Ray. For those that y'all did not know, Ray hosts a live show at 10:15 Eastern Time. It's only like 7:15 Eastern or 7:15 Pacific Time. Ray is out on the West Coast, so for you West Coast RC people, be sure to join Ray during his live show at 7:15 Pacific. But and for you masochists that love to stay up real late, join Ray anyway, and we'll just stay up late watching Ray put fire booties in a free wing MiG-29. So David Martin Graf, that's funny you mentioned that. Ryan had a long show. He kept it going for a while this past Saturday. I mean, it wasn't quite Kenny territory because Kenny just goes and 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 goes. And I don't know what time Kenny finally shut it down this past week. But yeah, Ryan was on till like 1, maybe 2 in the morning. It was fun. Wait, Kenny, what is 1 month? The length of your stream is 1 month? Is that what you're telling us? That you stream for 1 month at a time? George, you didn't miss much. He was just talking about trucks for that last hour anyway. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, he was very enthusiastic for for the last hour that he was on this past Saturday. It was fun. Oh, Ryan, it's cool, man. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed, you staying on late. That's fun. Cause you turn into a different person, when you let it go past the time. Every time when you say like, all right, guys, I'm shutting it down in 5, and then 5 minutes pass and you don't shut it down and you're like, ah, man, I'm just going to stay up then, whatever. There's still 100 people in here watching. You turn into a different person. And the show takes a turn towards adult entertainment. And I know that you always set that timer, so you go back and you delete everything off the trail end of the shows, but they turn into they turn into something a little different. It's like Pilot Ryan After Dark. It was good. Is that Kenny's new name, Thunderstruck? That's awesome. Wait, wait. I have an emoji. I have an emoji. Y'all know that I got the Kenny emoji, right? Kenny, watch out. Oh, that's funny. Poor Kenny. Man, uh, I'll tell you what, Kenny, I am so happy. Seriously, I am thrilled that you are okay. For two reasons. Number one, I would hate for something bad to happen to you because you're such a great dude, and none of us want to see anything bad to happen to you. So that's the number one reason that I'm happy. But probably the bigger reason that I am so happy is that we get to make fun of you for getting hit by lightning forever. You never get to live that down. We're going to make fun of you for the rest of your life for getting hit by lightning. And it's awesome. Like I'm just so I'm just so happy. Yeah. Like I'm so glad that you're okay, really. But I'm more glad that you lived and got to tell about it just because of there's so much good things that come out of you getting hit by lightning. Like you're never going to be able to fly gas RC again because now you're electric only. Like you're electric only from here on out. Is it really that bad? Dude, there could be worse things to get made fun of over. You know, you got hit by lightning. How many people can tell that story? How many people get to tell a story about getting hit by lightning? That's awesome. Man, y'all didn't tell me that the cuffs of my shirt were rolled up. Dang. That's right. And if y'all ever like leave your charger at home when you go to the field, you can just stick the plug of your battery in Kenny's mouth. It'll be charged right back up in like 5 minutes. Good to go. Showing them guns. Yeah, whatever, Fred. Showing off them toothpicks. That's true, George. He told that lightning that was number one. Oh, that's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about airplanes. I know that I'm waiting for more airplane news to hit. We're getting to that time of year when this is when I expect other big airplane news to start coming. So like Null in the Fall isn't happening. So, there's got to be some new stuff coming here soon. And I like to play the speculation game. I know we got this Draco coming from Horizon. I know it is. It's coming. We seen it. Kinda. Fred, I think the lightning showed Kenny who was in charge. It showed him who was when it charged right into his back. Yeah, David Martin Grant. I think that the big Draco, unless that was all like a big marketing ploy, and nobody made a mistake. It was all just to tease us. That there is no Draco coming. That it was all just a big fat tease, and to make us keep coming back. And then they keep coming back with like this other new stuff. But if it's going to be a big, Carbon Z style 2+ meter, what I think it was like a 2 or 2.1 meter, big 6S, huge Wilga for $499, I think that's a good price for that plane. It's right in line with all of the other big Carbon Z planes. I think it's going to sell well because of the story behind the airplane. I think anytime when you release an airplane that's not just an airframe that people recognize, because there's a lot of folks that know what an F-18 is, but there are people that have no idea what an F-18 is that see this plane and know exactly what they're looking at. Have no idea what an F-18 is, but they see that and they know exactly what they're looking at. It's like the Draco. There's going to be a lot of people that have no idea what a Wilga is, but they see that plane and they know the story, they know the history, and they know that they want one, not because they like the plane, but because they want a piece of the story. So it's the same with like, any of the really famous demo teams, so like your Thunderbirds. There's people that know exactly what a Thunderbird looks like, but they have no idea what an F-16 is. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's going to be a lot of people that get the Draco for the story behind the plane. You know, because anytime you have a plane that's got a story behind it, it adds another dimension to the marketing aspect of that plane. Um, you know, it's not just an airframe anymore. It's more than that. You know, and that's why that particular Blue Angel, you know, there's a story behind it. So it means more to me than just a Blue Angel or just an F-18. You know, that is a tribute plane. Um, you know, when you can put a story behind it, it makes it more engaging, more compelling. So you want a part of that history, like buying a book. Um, you know, so I think that the Draco is going to do really well. Man, Shadow and Kenny. Number one, Shadow, I'm very happy for you that Kenny did that. But Kenny, that's awesome, man. That was awesome. What a super nice guy. I don't think he would have done that, Shadow, if he had not gotten hit by lightning. So you need to also thank Kenny too, because the lightning clearly messed up his cheap ass brain and it made him spend money at a time when he otherwise would have not spent a dime. So George Watts, which what videos? They keep hinting at a success plane, and in the video you see a blurred out biplane. In what videos? Yeah, the Freedom Fox is pretty cool. Oh, Flex has a new plane coming out. That's good. That's good. They're really proud of those Mambas, though. Like, even the smaller Mambas have a pretty hefty price tag, man. So, BD Tennessee, how you doing? Welcome to the show. Yeah, so you know, we can speculate that, and I think fairly safely that we're probably going to see that Draco by the end of the year. Hopefully, we'll see something new by Flex, but you know, Flex is one of those weird companies because they announced that F-100, the Super Saber, a long time ago. The Super Saber was announced probably 6 months before anybody ever saw one in person. So, I mean, anything, when you got a company like that, I mean, you always take it with a grain of salt. Um, you know, Motion had two big ones. I mean, people still haven't gotten their Grippins yet, I don't think. Although I did see someone saying they got a Grippin, but I take it with a grain of salt. Um, but they had the MiG 29, big announcement with the MiG 29, big announcement with the Grippin. hopefully we'll see something new from them too. I mean, the year's not over yet, and you got to imagine that a lot of these companies, they had some stuff get backed up with all of the COVID stuff, and there was probably a lot of stuff that got put on hold. So it could be that we see a lot more coming from both Horizon and Motion here over the next couple of months ahead of the big holiday shopping seasons, with Black Friday coming up here soon. Um, I'm kind of excited to see what the end of the year brings us, especially when it comes to like that Draco, um, and just seeing what else Motion has. Jason hinted, Jason Merkel at Horizon had hinted to something along the lines of there being another big warbird like the Mustang. Um, but didn't go into any further details than that. So that'll be interesting too, to see if there's another big warbird, same general size as the Mustang, because even though the Mustang's only a 1500 millimeter wingspan, that's a big bird. That's a big plane. Um, so I'd be interested to see if they're going to possibly come out with a big warbird before the end of the year. In addition to the big Draco, I think that'd be nice. I'd love to see another flight line uh, big warbird. They've got a big, and it's not really that big. They've got a Nexa P-47 that looks really nice, but it would be nice to see, like a Razorback. I don't want a bubble top P-47. I don't like them, but I would love to see like a nice, larger Razorback P-47, maybe an updated version of an FMS plane, and maybe that's what E-Flight's got coming. Maybe they've got a big P-47 coming out that's real similar to the 1500 Mustang. That would be awesome. So David Martin Graff, I can neither confirm or deny having heard exactly what you just said from a very reliable source. Yes. A big Razorback P-47 with invasion stripes. Yeah. Even if it's like a 1.5 meter with the wingtips that pop off, very similar construction, that would be awesome. I just love P-47s though, man. I don't care what they make it in. Um, and having talked with both Jason and Alpha, so Jason Merkel, the marketing guy with Horizon, and Alpha, who is, the senior manager of Motion RC, both of them kind of hinted to the idea that, it's probably not going to be German planes because German planes don't sell that well. Like FW-190s and BF-109s really don't sell that well, which just sucks. But because I think I like the FW-190 enough that if someone made one that was really nice, I could be compelled to maybe buy one. It's a great flying airplane. Yeah, I would love to see a big Mitchell. I really enjoy the B-25. I think that's a great looking plane. I think that a big Mitchell would do really well. But again, what is the market for a big bomber? And do big bombers sell as well as your more traditional warbirds? So even if Motion were to come out with a Razorback P-47, which I don't think they have in the Flightline lineup of warbirds, yeah, like there's 1600 series of warbirds. If they were to do like a 1600 size P-47, I think it would do really well. If they were to do a big B-25, I don't think it would sell as well as a P-47. And as much as I hate to say it, because everybody, it's one of those love-hate relationships, right? Anytime somebody mentions, we're bringing out another Mustang, everyone gets mad that they're bringing out another Mustang, and then everybody buys one. Yeah, so I think the last nice P-47 was the big 1700 P-47 from FMS. And so Barry Campbell, this is actually the exact same spot. Nothing has really changed as far as where I am. It's just a little different arrangement, I moved a few things around and hung some planes behind me and, got a different camera set up. The lighting is still the same, but I don't have the monitor sitting in my face anymore. So I like I like it a little better. And I have a table in front of me now, so I can zoom the camera out a little bit, and you would see the whole table in front of me. It's like a 6-foot table, and I can put big airplanes on here and display them and unbox them during the show instead of having it sitting behind me. And when I want to show you guys like what's going on with an airplane or whatever, I don't have to like fight with it sitting behind me and bringing it around. We can do all that, and I can be looking at the camera. I feel like this is a better setup. So yeah, I changed things around a little bit. Hey, no worries there, Mr. Noons. Yeah, C5 would be cool, but man, like if the rumors are true, so I heard some rumors that we're getting closer to a day when we may see an HSD 747 with a price tag of somewhere around $3,000. 3,000, like 4 90-millimeter power plants at a price tag of around $3,000 for an HSD 747. So if that's true, if an HSD 747 is going to run somewhere along the lines of $3,000, I know that I will never ever buy one. Somebody will, but I will never ever buy one. Can you imagine what a big C5 would cost? It'd be somewhere along those same lines. It'd be a ginormous airplane, and it would be ridiculously expensive. The EDFs on the 747 are 90 millimeters. That's that is a lot of super chats. 200 driver, that is a fact. It would take years of super chats for me to be able to afford a $3,000 airplane. Like that makes my face turn green and makes me vomit in my mouth a little bit just thinking about it. Like, oh God, I just spent $3,000 on an airplane. Yeah, Mike's RC, no doubt, right? The bigger helicopters, you know, Like the Robans, as far as scale helicopters go, that Motion RC sells, those things are nice. But that's like a stripped down. That's like nothing. When you buy that helicopter, it comes with nothing. You still got to buy your power set. I mean, by the time it's all said and done, if you do one of those Roban helicopters, you're spending $3,000-4,000 on that helicopter. And a lot of the folks that get like the big Goblin helicopters, like your 700, 660s and 700 size Goblin helicopters from SAB, those things are insanely expensive too. And they throw them around like they didn't cost anything. Like, oh my God, that is a lot of money to just be tossing up in the air like that. And what's weird, like I love helicopters. I think they're awesome. But man, there's so much that can go wrong so fast on a helicopter if you're not really careful with them. Yeah, I'll fly the little ones, I'll fly like this little guy, but this is only like a 130. And you can still hurt somebody really bad. You can hurt someone so bad with a 130. I think the biggest size that I'd be comfortable flying, just being honest, is probably like the Blade 230, like the 230 size helicopters. Those are the size and speed that makes sense for the kind of things that I like to do. 'Cause I just like to make circuits, around the field. Like we have a whole nother side to CCRC that's all rotary wings. So when I take up these little guys, I mean, I just run them in circles and do figure eights. And I don't do, every once in a while, I'll do like, like a big loop. I'll send it up and then bring it around and just kind of let it fall down and then fly out of it and go straight across. But I don't do like what do they call that? The TikTok thing where they do this number. I definitely don't hover upside down, at least not on purpose. I don't do any of the 3D stuff because I'm just petrified. And I don't know why, because it's not like these are super expensive. I just know how bad it can be, having seen some of these guys with like these really expensive helicopters. I just resist the temptation to do it. Just being able to fly it and stop it and just hover and swing it around and bring it back in. I mean, that to me is super cool. And it's probably why, as much as I love helicopters, I like the drones too. Like quads are awesome to fly. I like flying the quads better than the helicopters because they're much more stable, and I feel like I feel like I'm in more control of a quad than I am a helicopter, which is funny because at least with a helicopter with a linked, that doesn't have a separate motor for the tail, that's got a geared transmission that runs the tail, you can auto rotate it back down, kinda. Like when a drone dies, I mean, that thing is just whoop, done. Oh, Shadow, man, I can imagine. George Watts saying, I had a guy who worked for me that almost killed himself when his 3D heli got away from him and the blades hit him in the neck. Oh my God. Oh. See, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, like if you're flying a big 700 size heli, I mean, that's a huge amount of blade. And they're spinning so fast, even at like what they call slower RPMs. mean, the tips of those blades are whipping through the air. Um, Man, that will mess you up. That's a bad day. That's a bad day. And a lot of these guys at our field, you know, I never, and I maybe I should, but I'm not like, I'm, dude. It's not my life. Um, a lot of guys that fly the helicopters, we have a fence, and right on the fence it says, when pilots will stand on this side of the fence, and all the flying stuff will happen on the other side of the fence. But the guys will go out there, they'll put their helicopter on the helipad and stand right there and fire it up and stay right there while they're flying it. And they'll be flying this thing like within a few feet of their face, and it's like, oh God, guys, get behind the fence, you know, follow the rules. And maybe I should say something. Man, I just don't. And I'm terrible. I should say something. Yeah, Roach Coach. I mean, the T Rex 800, 6 feet, 6 feet of blade. That will mess you up. Oh, yeah, George. Yeah. I'm still going for another, 20 minutes or so. So, George, that is something that I've seen. So, the night ones are really cool. And I don't know how they do that, but they've got like little LEDs embedded in the blades or something slick, where they can light them up. And I've also seen a guy flying with, I don't know what kind of blades they were. I don't think they were SAB blades. Whatever kind of blades they were, though, they were almost like an iridescent color. Um, and once they started spinning, it was it was all kinds of different colors, and depending on the angle of the helicopter in the air, it changed the way it looked. So it like they would turn from like green to purple, pink, blue. I mean, they would be all kinds of different colors depending on how the light was reflecting off of them, how they were sitting in the sun, and that was one of the coolest sets of main rotors that I've seen on a helicopter. That was awesome. Oh, yeah, Joe Habib, no doubt. I'm not on the other side of the fence, so I'm on the other side of the field. Hi. That's right. Nothing scares Lightning Kenny. Yeah, I'm usually as far away as I can be, where I feel safe, where I feel like I have enough room that if I need to run, I can. Because those helicopters, man, I love watching them. I really do, man. They're incredible to watch. And some of the pilots in our field, we've got some great helicopter pilots, but man, like they obviously know what they're doing, but I don't trust them. I don't trust those helicopters, because like Mike's RC was saying, you got one failed link, and I mean, you got blades flying off. That's a bad day. Or a helicopter that's completely out of control. That's a bad day. No way, man. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Roy, how you doing? Now my dogs want to start barking. What a bunch of jerks. They've been good all night, sitting in the chair, sleeping. Yep. So yeah, hopefully we see some new airplanes. I did want to say, and I kind of yeah, give him more beer. Amy's not back yet. She's just in the room. I wonder if they can smell that on the TV. If it's like smell-o-vision. It's like my mama's in that. My mama's on that screen. Don't be talking about my mama. Oh, I see what's up. The cat jumped on the chair with him. They don't like the cat. That's. I think that's what it is, George. They can feel. They can feel their mama in the chat. So after last Thursday, what was it? Or no, it was after last Tuesday. After last Tuesday, I had the crash with the Havoc. I went back on Thursday and flew the F-22 a lot. The F-22 flew great, didn't have any issues. Silky smooth landings all day. I mean, that's just an incredible plane. And while I was at the field, somebody that we all know has let me borrow an FR Sky. I think it's an S8R. It's a stability 8-channel receiver that I want to try out and put a bunch of flights on it and see, if like link stability and link quality are any better. And use like just do like a comparison between that and say an AR637 with full range telemetry that can feed RSSI data back and log them and just test them over and over and over again and get some good hard data. I'm sure other people have done this already in their comparisons of FR Sky and Spectrum and whatnot, but I want to give it the good college try, see if what the empirical data says, not the court of public opinion. I don't put a lot of value in people saying, well, this is better, this isn't better. I never had any problems with this. I never had any problems. I mean, there's people out there that have never had a problem with anything. And there's people that have had problems that were flukes. And I'm willing to chalk this up to a fluke because for years I've been flying Spectrum and never had a problem. And then I've crashed 3 planes in a month. One of them most likely my fault, but the other 2, I don't think. So I think I'm going to try the that S8R and see what happens. See how I like it on my Radio Master. I don't know what I'm going to put it in yet. We'll see. I have planes. I probably won't start off with it sitting in a jet, but I will put it in I might put it in my Bigfoot. I think the Bigfoot would be a good plane, a good donor plane for the for that S8R. Even though it's only 5 channels, it's not going to use all 8. Or maybe I will put it in the P-47. The P-47 right now has an Admiral gyro, but having the 2 extra channels would let me do pan and tilt on the FPV. So maybe I'll do the P-47 and do a pan and tilt FPV system on the P-47. I think that'd be pretty slick. What kind of stamp, Kenny? A mushroom stamp? You want me to put a mushroom stamp on what? Wreck 'em Roy, that's awesome. Does it fly all right in the Husky? Yeah, trucks do. Yes, they do fall out of the sky. If you drive them fast enough over a mountain, woo! That's awesome. I was wondering about that the other day, Roy. If you ever put that, these dogs are so stupid. If you ever put the that 636 in anything, and I'll tell you, I've never had a problem with an AR 636. The Havoc was the first plane that I've ever had a problem with. Um, with an AR 636, and that was factory installed. So if it was antenna placement, I mean, if they're not doing it right, who the heck is? Air vexed. What is the AGL? So I know what AGL, or I know what the RSSI is. And like with Crossfire, I use link quality, which I think is oh, I gotcha. Well, I don't know that I can measure altitude above ground level. I know, yeah, I mean, I knew AGL was above ground level. I just didn't know that he was. Are you talking about like what the altitude of the airplane is? Because I don't think that S8R has an altimeter, like a barometer built into it, does it? Not that I'm aware of. Uh, Spencer, at the end of the day, it's always pilot error. Whether it's pilot error and you were a big dummy and you wrecked your crap, or you were a big dummy and you chose to buy a free wing plane with a bad blue box, or you were a big dummy and you flew Spectrum when you knew that your field has dead spots for with Spectrum, or you're a big dummy and I mean, it's always pilot error. You flew a plane when you were drunk. You flew a plane when you'd been smoking a ton of weed. You flew a plane that you knew the motor didn't sound right, and you were like, I can get one more flight out of this, and then the motor explodes and the whole front cowling like flies off and poof. I mean, everybody's got it's always pilot error. Yeah, Spencer, I think that's probably true. That's probably true. That's the only way to fly it. Now you got me thinking, like, how big is the cargo bay on this EC 1500? Yeah, Roach Coach. Oh yeah, Airvex. That is true. That is true that I would have, you know, that any potential interference issues could be happening at different altitudes. So yeah, with the 637T, I can log both at the same time. I'm just not sure how I would pull that off with the with that S8R receiver from FR Sky. I'm not sure if that's got a barometer or if it'd be easy to hook one up through the S port or whatever that's called. Kenny, is it easy to strap an altimeter to an FR Sky receiver? How can I get altitude inputs coming into an FR Sky receiver? Go. Thank you, Farmer Man. Is Amy saying she can't type on weed? Then how are you in here right now? Like how are you talking to us right now if you can't type on weed? All right, so they got like a little GPS module that I can plug into that S8R and it will shoot altitude and speed and stuff like that through telemetry that I can log it against the RSSI data. She not only can she spell, she can type and spell. Yep, so have you ever tried to? So you've never taken the sticks of an airplane. You've been on real flight so many times. We got to get you. We got to get you flying a real airplane or trucks. We can get you flying some trucks. BT Tennessee, I have not flown the 80 millimeter F-18s, the E-Flight. So BT Tennessee, if you check out the Mary Boozer RC channel, about a month ago, they did an E-Flight versus Free Wing F-18 video. And while the Mary Boozers were a little bit cryptic in saying which one they liked the best, I don't think it was a big secret. Dang, Kenny, $34. The receiver only cost $36. Yeah, if you go check out the Mary Boozers RC channel, they've got that comparison video of the Free Wing and the E-Flight F-18s. I have never flown the E-Flight, so I can't say, comparing one over the other. I have flown the Free Wing. The Free Wing flies amazing, as long as you can keep it flying. And you don't have problems with the airframe. As long as the airframe holds up for you, and that sounds um, terrible. there are issues that can happen with any plane. What I would tell you on the for the free wing, because I do think that the free wing, they took some liberties on it to make it fly, to get off the ground easier, to make it a little better off of grass in particular, to make it where it doesn't have to have, you know, 400 feet of runway to be able to rotate. You don't need full flaps to be able to rotate. It just, the way that the CG is situated on the plane makes it a little easier to get off the ground. It doesn't have those big, long, you know, big, long main gears. And while they look sweet, I don't think they're practical for an RC model for all the reasons that I just was saying. So I think at least in my opinion, you know, if I had to choose between one or the other, I would choose the free wing F-18. The high performance version is supposedly much better than the Outrunner, but this plane was one of those that did not have a power problem with the Outrunner. So the new version with the Inrunner is even better than it used to be. So that's a bonus. I, I mean, if you're looking for an F-18, I personally, I think the free wing is the way to go. That's just me. Oh, Wreckham, that'll be awesome. See, Amy, you got this. There's lots of open airspace everywhere. Frank the Tank. That'll be fun, you know, getting Frank Sylvester on the show because, I mean, I don't know if he knows, you know, how infamous that video is of him smashing that poor free wing A-10. I tried to get her to fly the little UMX Turbo Timber. And she doesn't want to crash him. And I'm like, just blow it up. Just crash it. You know, if it crashes, who cares? I mean, there's parts. We can buy parts and fix it. Massachusetts. No kidding. Don't give her any ideas, Fred Barron. All right. So we are getting close to the end of the stream. So I'm going to do the weekly shout outs for our fine, fine folks that are the members of the channel. This is for all of our sheriff level members. We've got Flying Times, who is a sheriff. Mike SSI, Spencer Keith, Dave Kowishki, William Mergita, RC Stinger, Joseph Ramsey, Jet Tech, Don Atkins, Ken Sprouse, Mr. George Watts, and our newest member of the Sheriff's Club, Mr. RC Addict. thank you guys all so much. I really appreciate you guys being members of the channel. It means a ton. I know that I have neglected the crap out of the memberships, and I need to get back on that, just like I need to start posting regular videos again. And now that we kind of have the studio situation, you know, a little, it's easier to do videos now. That's all I'll say is, before, for me to do one type of video, I had to be on the other side of the room. With the way that I have everything set up now, I can do all of the videos from right here. So whether I'm putting together an airplane, doing a review on a radio, no matter what I'm doing, I can do it all from here. The live stream, you know, so this will be um, a much easier setup in the long run. And that was kind of the, you know, kind of the driving, you know, motivating factor behind doing that. And we can just have whatever plane we're working on sitting here in front of us, and it'll be great. So that is, you know, something else that I need to get working here soon, and that's okay. Let's see. And you know, once we get back into like the regular swing of videos, guys, you know, for people, like, there is a membership perk that will do a live fly in on Sundays. But even when I have announced it, and I've only had one person ever show up to the virtual fly in on Sundays. Now that the weather's starting to get a little nastier, it's starting to get a little colder, a little windier, it may be worth doing again, and we may get more participation. I don't want to not do it, you know, because I think that it's fun, and I think that people enjoy doing the real flight virtual fly-ins. And as we start getting into more cold weather seasons, I think that people are going to want to do those more often. And that is one of the member perks, is a weekly fly-in instead of our usual monthly fly-in. So thank you, Reckham. I appreciate it. Joe Habib, thank you, sir. Ryan O, no, not yet. And here's the deal, guys. When I hit 1,000 subs, that was right around the time that I lost my job. Unfortunately, I have not been hired by anybody. I always said, like, hey, once I get, you know, a job and I'm in a position where I can go and get prizes and thin things out and do whatever, I'll do a big 1,000 sub giveaway. Well, now we're sitting closer to 1,800. So I think we're going to hit 2,000 here in the next couple of months. So we may just wait until we hit 2,000. Maybe by then I'll have a job. Maybe, you know, something miraculous will happen between, you know, now and then. But as it stands right now, you know, it doesn't look like the 1,000 is going to happen, or 1,500, because I'm not employed, and, you know, that sucks. Yes, Hangar 51. Amy's not wrong. So they are hanging up. Let me go grab it. I'll be right back. I think you guys will still be able to hear me too, because of this funky microphone that I'm wearing. You know, I actually don't know what the name of this line is. But it's the same kind of line that masonry, you know, that they use in masonry to like, you know, set up the borders, and they stretch it out like super tight. And John Nunes actually made a video on this, but they stretch this stuff like super tight, You know, this real thin, this, yeah, level line. There you go, Ryan. So this is the stuff that I use. You know, you can pick up a roll of this, of like a ton of it, hundreds of yards, for like $5 at Home Depot. So this stuff is, you know, pretty easy to come by. And then I put that around either the main landing gear or, in the case of the F-18s, I've got some hooks that I've got going into the cheater vents. So like the topmost cheater vent, the way that they're hanging on the F-22, I've got the rope, you know, that level line kind of wrapped around the main gear. And then I just use like a picture hook. So I think they're the 20-pound or 30-pound picture hooks that have a nail in them. So I just put the nail right into the drywall. I mean, these planes only weigh, you know, how much with it? Maybe 5 to 7 pounds without a battery in them, if that. So, you know, those 20-pound hooks with a nail, and then that masonry level line that I use. That's it. And they hang up there no problem. So, you know, I see the guy saying command strips work well. I just don't trust an adhesive, man. I need to have something physical. There needs to be full penetration into the drywall. What's up, Jeff's Custom RC? How you doing, sir? So listen, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off because Guniac is starting here in about 8 minutes, and I don't want to cut into Guniac's time. So thank you guys all for coming out tonight. Be sure to join Ray in his stream here in about 8 minutes. You guys are awesome. I will see you all again next Monday. I think we have some exciting news coming up, and it'll be fun to share it with you. There's things coming up that I can't share yet, but it'll be fun to share it with you when I can. So thank you guys. I appreciate everybody coming out. Thank you for the kind words about how we have the new studio laid out. I appreciate that. It's not like it took, you know, it's not like I had to go out and buy a bunch of decorations. I already had all the art that I put on the walls. But, you know, it took some time to rearrange everything, and I'm glad that that effort paid off. And thank you guys also for the kind words about the audio earlier, about it sounding rich and deep. That's what I was looking for, was rich, deep audio. Anyway, you guys are awesome. Thank you for coming out. And we will see you all next Monday. And I'll see you in Ray's show here in like 5 more minutes. You guys all have a great week, and we will see you next time.